We're back. Oh, that was a little, that was a little crunchy. Sorry, I'm still... Man, I can't... I can't with summer. I can't. But anyway, there's about 2 hours until maintenance starts. Also, I'm gonna have to take a minute when the wife comes home, so it's one of those days. But I have a plan. I want to go to Lufay's Meadows, possibly check out the other zone too. Actually, maybe there was those sewers, right? That level capped me at 40. Though I don't get EXP for that. That's a no EXP zone for me. Until they I think 1.2 is supposed to address that, like you get a little EXP. But for now, we'll stay away from that. Alright, I'm going in as a Beastmaster Thief, that's my usual level grinding setup, nothing fancy. Before I head out into the wilderness though, I always like to do the ritual, right? Check my delivery box and see if the goodies that I posted the day before sold, which I already checked, and like yesterday, what was it, like pigeon blood, something like that? The item I got from that NM that I just stumbled on, it sold. It sold already for 49,000 gil. So that was real profitable. Oh, here we go. Oh, look, gil number go up. It's kind of funny. Some people are annoyed that stuff like the delivery box kind of slowly loads in, but for me, it's exciting. It's like, oh, hey, that sold. Oh, and that sold. And oh my god, everything sold, and it's a good feeling. It's a really nice feeling. Alright, so I did play on my own a little bit since yesterday. What I did is I just went out to Kufum Island and I did some fishing. I sold the fish just straight to an NPC. I didn't bother putting that on the auction house. But I also, while I was fishing, I just killed the elementals that spawned with my pet. Like, I had my pet go kill them and I just kept fishing, so two birds with one stone, right? So I took out a few elementals, I think I got like 10 or more stacks of crystals. I also killed some of the ghost enemies, and those drop lots of squares of cotton cloth, which you can see, yeah, that sells for 6,800 gil, so... So overall, between the fish and the drops that were just right there at my feet, I did good. Kufum Island I find it's very profitable. Like, you can make a large amount of money, or when I say large, I mean a relatively large for a non-endgame player, a relatively large amount of gil in a short amount of time. If you get lucky on, you know, ghosts and skeletons spawning, and then it's thunder weather. If you get lucky on that, then yeah, it's a good time. Very, very profitable. If you're not so lucky, then yeah, it's only average. But looks like most, if not all, of the stuff sold, so awesome. I am now up to 947,000 gil, and I've kinda, you know what, before I start spending my gil on anything, I kind of have a goal now. I have a goal. I must become a gillionaire. a true and honest gillionaire. So, it's only like 50k away, right? So my goal is get 1,000,000 gil. And, okay, look, to old school veteran end game players, it's probably chuckle worthy to hear someone getting hyped about 1,000,000 gil, right? But the thing is, as someone who's only ever been a more low-end player in the game, and who has never gotten to endgame or anything like that, the idea, the concept of having 7 digits, right? Of having 1,000,000 gil in my pocket at one time it's insane. It's an incredibly novel concept. So for me, I just want that. I want that 1,000,000 gil. Once I hit that milestone, then I'll spend some money, right? As I make money over 1,000,000, but I want to have that nice that cushioned safety net of 1,000,000 gil. So that's my plan there. Shouldn't take too long to get it. But today I'm not really gonna focus on gil making. I'm just gonna go kill some enemies in Lufay's or whatever. I want to test out the new zones that I have access to. I want to see how, see how good the XP is. How, if the enemies are maybe more difficult, or I don't know. They felt more difficult for their level, but that could just be a me thing. I don't know. So I'll go ahead and equip the Empress Band, and I'll pop that when I get into the meadows. Oh, my rabbit is dead. It's kind of funny how that rabbit just sticks around, and like the goddamn rabbit, it just disappears the moment that I go out into the world, right? Like, I think it's because it can only despawn when I'm logged in, right? So if I log out and I'm in a town, the rabbit is still technically persistent. It's still there. It's like it'll die the moment I leave town, but it's still there. Just a little thought. But anyway, I haven't gone back. I haven't returned yet to the archipelago. Not through this way. I tested out the entrance in Kufum Island, and that worked out just fine. But it put me in front of a bunch of enemies that were completely killable. Like, I totally kill my way out. But I think that's maybe the deep end. Like, they were a little too hard for me to really easily EXP on. So I'm gonna enter in through the Dunes entrance, which, as I understand it, is right in that cave over there. That cave that you have no reason to enter. Or do you? Is there something over there? It's the Siren Sands. Wait, is that wave over my head? It's the way that water works in this game. It's a little hard to tell exactly like where is the water line. I can kind of see it on my character's boots here, but well now, okay, yeah, now it went over my head, right? But I could barely tell. Here it is. But wait, is there more back here? Like, okay, what's no, it's just a dead end, right? Oh, it's perspective. Yeah, it's just a dead end. Okay. Well, then I kind of wonder, like, what? So if it's just a dead end here, I mean, before Promathia, like, what was here? Nothing? Was it just a cave with no purpose, and it's like for future use? I don't understand. Also, before I enter the new world, let me just close some things out real quick. I just noticed I have some things up on my PC that, look, this game isn't gonna slow me down, but I like to keep the PC relatively clean. You know, kill as many unnecessary processes as I have to. So just doing that, and then I'm jumping in. Okay, we're good. Enter the vortex. I'm still not sure why it works like this, though. Alright, back in Lufay's Meadows. That is some nice little chill soundtrack. Also, I have a bunch of issues with, I don't mean to nitpick, but the more I think about it, the more issues I have with maybe the maps. Like, real quick, here's a thought. So Lufay's Meadows here, which this is only like, this is one part of this island, right? Like the coast over there, like I assume there's like another map equal in size over on the west side here. And then the town down here, and I think there's more zones too. But like, this is a decent sized zone. It does have a lot of inaccessible areas, but it's a decent sized zone, right? But I want you to think about something. If we look at this on the overall map, the Tavnasian Archipelago, which I assume we're on the big island here, right? So we're to believe that this whole, like, all of these maps are contained within this little speck on the map, right? But the thing is, okay, let's go over here to Sandoria, and the Ronfar, right? There's this big region around the Ronfar, or actually a better example even. I don't know, let me think. No, the Ronfar is a good example of this. So you take the Ronfar, right? If I can get my cursor to play nice. So, in the Ronfar, you've got, so there's the Orcish outpost zones, right? And that's just a dungeon, basically. Like, it's a dungeon. But then you have East and West Ronfar, and that's really, like, King Ronper's tomb is also just a dungeon within the Ronfar. Like, both the Orc zones and the tomb and the oubliette, like, those are all just dungeons within the Ronfar. But the actual Ronfar, like, as an overworld region, it is only an East and West Ronfar. Right? And I will be charitable here and say that those zones are equal in size to the East and West Tavnasian Archipelago zones, right? But look at the size, right? Look at the size of the Ronfar region, and then look at the size of Tavnasian Archipelago, and keep in mind that these two regions basically are about the same. Actually, I think Tavnasian Archipelago is probably larger because it has a bunch more overworld zones that I haven't even gotten to yet. So this is something about Final Fantasy XI that I've never quite wrapped my head around the world map. Because I like the world map, it looks cool, but if you really break down how large each region is, like the number of maps in the regions and the size of those maps, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, there's no way that the Ronfar, if we're saying that East and West Ronfar equals this massive region around Sandoria, if we say that is the same size as this tiny speck on the map over here, that's defying all physics and, like, I don't know. Maybe that's a me problem, right? That's a me issue. I'm thinking too hard again about my Final Fantasy games. I gotta stop that. It's not good for me. Alright, well, I'm gonna pop my Empress Band. And get my balance ring back on. Okay, so the enemies over on this end of Lufay's Meadows, they're not really a threat to me, and they don't give me any proper EXP either. Like, I really have to go closer to town in order to find enemies that'll give me anything. Though I am curious what kind of loot you'll get from these enemies. That is something I'm very curious on. Also, how many people are in Lufay's Meadows right now? I'm also very curious about that. I am the sole survivor. I am the lone adventurer in Lufay's Meadows. I am the Omega Beastmaster. I get why, like, you know, being blunt, I get why I'm the only person here. It's still just crazy to me that this whole ass region is just it's completely locked behind a relatively hard progression, right? Like doing the 3 Prometheans, especially Mia, especially that one. Like, that's a party breaker right there. It's crazy to me that they lock so much just overworld content behind that gauntlet. And there's more. Like, the thing is, doing the 3 Prometheans to get access to the archipelago, that was only the first chapter of the Chains of Promathia. Like, right now, I'm midway through the 2nd chapter. The 2nd chapter was mostly just talky stuff. But yeah, like, that was just the beginning. There's 10 chapters in the Chains of Promathia. 10 goddamn chapters. And we're on 2. So, yeah. It's insanity. It's pure insanity, but it still feels good to finally be here. Ooh, a Warwolf. Now this'll give me EXP. Okay, these are EXP. Okay, we're good EXP territory here. So let's do it. Let's see how these let's see how these Tavnasian mobs hold up. I feel like considering what you have to go through to get here, I would think they'd be like a lot harder than normal mobs, but we'll see. Oh god, 4-2. I don't even know what that one is, but I'll assume it's hard. I mean, I'm already kind of stuck on, I have to go down into, like, that sewer area, right, and kill the Minotaur, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need a group for that, or at the very least, I'm gonna need some help with it, I would assume. It's level synced, so I can't just steamroll it. But, yeah, it's a little crazy how much of the game is just in general locked behind that MSQ, but at the same time, I kind of prefer it. Oh boy, oh, I'm looking forward to it then, but so here's the thing, right? Like, the way that unlocks and the main story quests, the way that they work in this game, I really far prefer it to how it works in Final Fantasy XIV. Which, sorry if I talk about 14 a lot, but I will be honest, I did play Final Fantasy XIV for a very long time, and I still pop in every now and then just to check up on it. You know, see, has it gotten more to my taste? But like, there is a lot of game design that you can compare between the two of those. Oh yeah, I like that that this server specifically kind of puts wardrobe slots behind unlocks. That was a really good idea. It makes me want to unlock things more because I want those slots, right? Like, I want to do the hard shit just to get more wardrobe space. The thing I didn't like about 14 is the main story. Honestly, the story of Final Fantasy 14 just didn't... It didn't do anything for me. Huh, you can steal sheep meat from these things. Huh. I used to like the gameplay of 14, but the problem with liking the gameplay of Final Fantasy 14 and not the story is that the gameplay has changed so goddamn much since the game came out, and it keeps changing. Like every expansion, they kind of fuck things up and move them around, and like if you like the gameplay, tough shit, it's gonna change, right? But the one thing that was kind of a hassle for me was the main story in FF14. Because, see, you're highlighting a bit of a problem with 14, which is, let's say that you get invited by a friend, and I've had this, like, I've had this and I've seen this situation happen. Let's say that you want to invite a friend to play Final Fantasy 14 with you, and you know your end game, and they join. Well, the thing is... Oh, I didn't even see that thing here. The thing is, your friend is gonna have to do, like, thousands of quests that take hours and hours and hours in order to catch up to you. Like, it doesn't matter if you could, like, let's say you could theoretically just level grind them up to level 90. You know, let's say you could do that in a really timely fashion. You'd still have to do all the quests, and the quests will take longer than leveling up. And when all you want to do is play with your friend or whatever, or let's just say you're only interested in like the end game difficult boss fights or whatever, there is so much you have to just slog through in order to get there when it comes to questing, right? I think that's, even people that really like Final Fantasy XIV, that is a general problem that they acknowledge with the game. Well, I mean, kind of. I'd say here's where it's a little better in this game. So yeah, let's say I get a buddy to join me right now. Yeah, they couldn't join me in Tavnesia or whatever, right? But I mean, I could help them, you know, like I could, let's say when they need to do the Prometheans, I could help them, you know, I could join their party and help that get going, right? Like, so you can still help them. You can't help someone do all of the single player main story quests in Final Fantasy XIV. You literally can't. At the very least, I can help someone with the story stuff in this game. But beyond that, the thing is, they don't necessarily have to, like, you don't necessarily need access to all of these zones. So you can level from 1 to 75, I mean, you know, assuming you do your limit break shit, but you can level from 1 to 75 in completely open zones that don't require any sort of unlocks to access. Like, yeah, you'll want to have access to the you know, to more zones to do more stuff in, but you don't need it. Like, there is 1 to 75 content in just the open world that anyone at level 1 can access. So you can always play with your friend. Well, I mean, also your friend. Well, I guess that's the thing. Your friend is gonna have to level up anyway, so you're gonna have to go down to their level. But either way, you can still play with them the whole time. But let's even say, let's kind of take the friend. Let's take the hypothetical friend out of the situation. We know no one has. Look, we don't have friends here. But let's just say for your own benefit, right? Like, if I just want to, like, play a game and do my thing, explore at my own pace, and level up to 75 or whatever, is, again, those certain mile markers you have to clear aside, like, I don't have to do Chains of Promathia, I don't have to do Rise of Zalart, like, I don't have to do anything. I can just play and level up and then kind of conquer that content as I feel like. But also it's how modular it is. I think, okay, main thing, right? Main difference between 11 and 14 is that the story content here is a lot more modular than in 14. So let's say I'm really interested in Chains of Promathia and I really want to do that, but I don't care too much for like the main nation missions. I don't care so much for, you know, the Rise of Zalart stuff. Like I can just do the Promathia stuff. Like I can just do that. And I think that's a very good thing that the expansions and the storylines, they're all kept kind of separate and they're self-contained. So like you don't have to go through every expansion to get to the latest one. You can just do the latest one. I think that's a strong point. Honestly, I think Final Fantasy XIV, it would break the flow. Like, you'd have to restructure the game, but I kind of wish that it flowed like that. You know, like, let's say that there was overworld content in FF14 that could take you all the way up to 90, and then if you just wanted to do Endwalker, you could just do that, right? And not do the other expansions. That would, again, the game isn't built for that. It would require a total restructure of how the story flows, but for a player who's kind of jumping in years later, it would be a lot more manageable, you know? A lot more manageable. Yeah, like that's all I'm saying, and that's how most games that I've played, like that's how they treat their expansions. Like whether it's an MMO or a single player game, that's how they tend to treat it. Is like an expansion is its own world, it's its own thing. It might add things to the overall game. Like that's how like at least the old school EverQuest expansions used to work. You know, like they had their own world, of course, but then also they added stuff to just the whole game. But I don't think it should be something that has to be played through sequentially, you know? Because that's just, it's a problem that will only get larger as time advances. Because, well, think about it, like, you know, Final Fantasy XIV, like back when Heavensward was the only expansion, it wasn't a problem. And I remember back in those days, it wasn't a problem to make a new character and just, you know, blow through A Realm Reborn and then get into Heavensward. Yeah, it's a lot of quests, but it's like, oh, that's manageable, right? And then Stormblood comes along and it's like, okay, well, it's a little longer, you know, it's a little harder to go from fresh new character to caught up all the way. But okay, we can still do this. And then Shadowbringers, and it's like, this is a little too much. And then Endwalker, and it's like, this is too fucking much. Like I can't catch up years worth of content in a timely fashion. And yeah, look, I was one of those suckers that I bought the collector's edition of Final Fantasy 1.0. Had that big box, like I was one of those suckers, right? And to be fair, I actually kind of liked 1.0. I thought 1.0 wasn't terrible. It was technically a mess, but I actually liked its gameplay. But yeah, I was there since 1.0, and I actually liked the game when it relaunched. Like, I didn't have an issue with 2.0. I thought 2.0 was... Obviously, they took the game in a different direction, but it's like, okay, I'm still on board. And I think I was on board with the game all the way up through Stormblood, but around Stormblood is when I noticed the game was really changing in a way that I didn't like. Like, rather than being kind of more open and more complex and more interesting, it was going for more streamlined, more simple, to keep things linear, right? Like, you know, dungeons are now just a straight line. So it's, yeah, I was there. I'm just saying, like, I was there from the start of 14. So when I criticize it, like, it's not blind hatred. I liked the game for a very long time, and then I didn't. Also, oh, Sito, hey there. Hey there, Sito. Sito wears many horrifying hats. I think I've said it before, right? Like I think I've bantered about this before on the stream, but I think 1.0 had a lot of potential, but it was a technical nightmare, and I think part of the problem with 1.0 is that it was sort of competing with itself in terms of Final Fantasy XI. Like, the thing is, original 1.0, to me, it felt like a weird hybrid of Final Fantasy XI and Ultima Online. Like, it felt like a weird hybrid of, like, that really freeform kind of Western fantasy sandbox game, and then Final Fantasy XI. It was strange. But I liked it, I was down for it. I think the problem is, though, the problem is twofold. One, people that want a more complex and in-depth Final Fantasy MMO, they had Final Fantasy XI, and honestly, as we are well aware, there are people who still play on retail of Final Fantasy XI. They are very loud about it. So those people, like, they don't, you know, they didn't want to start over in 14, right? Like, you're not gonna pull them away. Some of them did evacuate, but most of them no, like, they stuck to 11. So you don't pull those people in. And then you have to look at the average gamer, both when 14 first launched, and just now. And the average gamer wants that more... I don't even want to say World of Warcraft experience, because World of Warcraft is... hey, I play Turtle WoW. World of Warcraft is actually kind of open and complicated. What they want is they want World of Warcraft even simpler. World of Warcraft for dummies. And that's the niche that Final Fantasy XIV has kind of filled, right? It abandoned the old one and it filled a new niche, and I think, honestly, it wouldn't have done as well if they stuck to the 1.0 idea. I don't think the game would have died or anything, but I think it would not have done nearly as well if they stayed on course. Oh yeah, no, if there was a private server for 1.0, I would be on it in a heartbeat. But as far as I know, there are no private servers for 14 in any form, as far as I know. But I'd be down for 1.0. I would totally be down for 1.0. Yeah, that's Sito. Yeah, that's another niche they filled. And I will be honest, I think they lean more into catering to that demographic these days, you know? Because I think at a certain point, Square Enix realized, like, the higher-ups realized that, wait a second, there are dumb motherfuckers that will spend hundreds of American dollars to just race change their character multiple times in a day, and they think, aha, that's so fun, that's so quirky and cute, and it's like, oh my god, we can just, these are like money milk machines, we can just pump them for cash. And I think at a certain point, someone at Square Enix realized that, and I think that's why the game has been getting dumber and dumber, more accessible, and really leaning into the kind of glamour as end game demographic. It's just a theory, right? Look, this is just my tinfoil hat theory, but it makes sense. It makes sense. Oh god, you're right, I remember when, like, yeah, you get, like, things like that. I do remember I had some just items that, like, they just have a broken, missing, like, item not found symbol, because That's such a weird thing. I think Final Fantasy XIV is the only MMO that I've ever played where, like, after a patch or an expansion or whatever, like, you log into your character. I think this is really a sign of the problem. So, pretty much after every expansion, you log into a character, and you have your abilities on your hotbar, right? And it would just be a bunch of gray slash marks, like a bunch of error, missing, icon not found. And that's because they just removed like half of your class's abilities to streamline things. I think like FF14 is the only game I've ever played that did that, and not a fan. Not a fan. Yeah, I remember that. Like when they did like a big crafting overhaul, and I always was an Omni crafter, and yeah, like all of my abilities were just gone. I mean, I also remember when, like, I remember when Protect and Stone Skin and Shell and, like, I remember when those were abilities in the game. I remember when you could cross-class skills. That was fun. But not anymore. Oh, hey, I got a necklace from this one. These giants, like the sentient enemies, they drop good gil. And I'm hoping the skins from these big boogards, I'm hoping those skins sell for something. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people will kind of just blindly hate on FF14, and I can be very passionate when I rant on and on and on about it, but I don't hate 14, and I accept it's not for me anymore. But I have a lot to say about it because, yeah, I bought the collector's edition of 1.0. I played 2.0 when it launched too. I was there from the beginning. I saw how the game started, and I saw how it changed over time and what it became. So yeah, I have a lot to say about that, right? And I'm one of the people that didn't really like how the game changed. And by the time that I kind of stopped regularly playing, most people I knew, they either quit the game, or they kind of do what I do, which is like only really log in for like major patch updates and stuff like that, just to see if things have changed, and then you see, oh, they haven't, and then you log back out again. Yeah, the problem with 14 is it's a little shallow. It's a lot shallow. It's not the kind of game that you can really sink like hours and hours and years of your life into. And I know that can sound a little obsessive or addictive or crazy, but like, I mean, you know, I like FF11 a lot, right? I've put a lot of hours in over the years, and I don't like obsessively play it or anything. It's just, it's a really fun game. I like it. Logging in and doing stuff is fun. And there's always something that I can be working towards. There's always something I can be doing to improve my character's quality of life. Like, it's a never-ending thing, and I really like that. But with 14, I never really got that. With 14, I mean, you know, I leveled up, I did the main story quest, I pretty much got everything I needed for free out of dungeons along the way. I never really felt like there was much to work towards, or for that matter, that there was really a reason to work towards anything. You know, it's not like this game where there's shit so hard, but that's also just normal content where, oh yeah, it would really benefit you to have like super rare, awesome, high-end stuff. It's like 14 doesn't really even allow you to cheese things like that. So yeah, it just doesn't have that staying power that I need. Yeah, that's the main thing I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of my main issue, is the way that gearing works. At first, like back in A Realm Reborn, and even through to Heavensward, I didn't have a problem with it, and I liked it, actually. And I'm just gonna rest my pet up a bit here, but yeah, you kind of realize that, like, the way that content works in 14, it's on a treadmill. So, like, every couple of months, the treadmill rolls on, and now the item level bumps up, and now everything that you work towards is just worthless, and you have to do basically the same thing again every couple of months, over and over and over, never ending. And the thing is, you never really feel stronger. Like, okay, let's take an FF11 example, right? So, I don't know, in FF11, I can be in a party in fucking Valkyrie Dunes, right? And let's say I'm a completely fresh character, no sub job, no food, shit gear. The thing is, my play experience is going to be very different from, like, let's say there's a guy who's, you know, they've got leaping boots, they've got all the rare shit, they're using the best food, like, they're using the best of everything, got those great advanced jobs, like, the difference in performance is insane, right? But the guy who has all the stuff, like, he really put in the work, right? And now he's reaping the reward. He's seeing his hard work, he's seeing the fruit of that, right? And getting to that point is like, oh yeah, you know, even in such a trivial example, you know, yeah, that's something to work for, right? In 14, getting better gear doesn't mean anything, because everything is level synced if you're doing it, like, if you're using the part, like the duty finder, which is how you normally enter content, everything is level synced. Even the open world fates are level synced. So, like, if you do a level 50 fate in the open world, it level syncs you to 50, and it level syncs your gear down to that. So your super awesome savage end game gear, it just gets put down to 2 level, right? So it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. This don't matter. Nothing fucking matters. It's that's the problem. And it doesn't feel good. It really doesn't feel good. Also, hey there, Burn. We're just having a bit of a rant. Oh god, Burn. I miss Creative Thinker. He was such a weirdo, but he spammed the novice network of, like, every server for goddamn months. He was so dedicated. Yeah, I kind of miss seeing, like, really dedicated trolls and stuff like that. Or the thing is, I don't know, the guy, he's either a dedicated troll or he's just literally mentally unhinged. But either way, it's so rare to see someone like that in, like, over video games, right? A carrot mod. Like, I just want the shoe Pokemon, alright? It's all I want. When's shoe? But anyway, yeah, I don't know, like, item levels as a concept, I'm not a fan. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of item levels. I think in some, like, okay, in some video games, item levels can work, and they can be fine, but yeah, like, hey, I do play some on, like, Turtle WoW, right? And, you know, yeah, they have, like, item level, you know, the gear has levels and all that, and so far it doesn't feel too bad because they have very diverse stats and effects, but I am seeing how it's going to be an issue where, like, yeah, you're just going to want the higher item level, right? You're going to want the higher level. Like, everything just comes down to get the higher level. No, shoe is in the type you wear on your feet, like just a shoe, a literal shoe. There's already like there's ice cream cones and garbage bags and and swords and stuff. Like, come on. When's the shoe coming? When is the joke gonna become reality? Also, I wonder how much these Gygus necklaces are worth. Like, I've killed giants before, but none of the giants like out in Kufim or in Delkfoot's Tower. As far as I know, none of them drop those necklaces. So this might be something that is actually worth some gil. I'll try to collect a stack and see. So to kind of wrap up my rant on I don't know, itemization and the feeling of that, I want to bring up a really great example. Well, actually two really good examples, and these are like the granddaddy MMOs, right? EverQuest and Ultima Online. I mean, Ultima Online doesn't have it doesn't have levels at all. It's a skill system game. You know, you just have skills, not levels. But EverQuest is a level-based game. You know, you've got levels in that game. The thing is, in classic old-school EverQuest, and in Ultima too, there's no level requirement on any gear. Like, none of the equipment in EverQuest has any sort of level attached to it. So in EverQuest, if you wanted to, like, you could get a badass set of end-game raid gear and then give it to a level 1 warrior, and they could go out and just be a walking god amongst giant rodents. If you wanted to, right? Like, you could do that, and people did. Like, that was actually a huge part of the game's culture. Was people tricking out their new low-level ults and just wrecking house with them. But you know, that was fun, right? It's called fun, and the game let you do that. It let you enjoy it and have fun. I'm not necessarily saying that every game should let you just, you know, wear like end-game raid gear on a level 1. I'm not necessarily saying that, but just that, I don't know, like the level of an item, it shouldn't really matter as much as it does. Also, oh, I got a pair of socks! Oh yeah, I got a pair of socks worn by the Gygus. They are too large for people to wear. I don't know, I could try to wear it. I could wear it as like a shirt or something. Also, let's see, what's the conquest like in this region? Can I even see it? Oh. So currently the Beastmen control this region. But the next one up is Sandoria. Sandoria is next in line, although really far behind. So hey, maybe we can capture the archipelago for Sandoria. I'm literally the only person in this zone right now, so hey, I can do it. I think I can do it. I love how we're kind of establishing some deep chat lore now here. I love it. Look, Final Fantasy XIV, it was a trap, alright? It's all just to summon the old ones. But you have to buy more potions of Fantasia to make it happen, okay? okay? Just listen, listen. Yoshi has a plan. Also, oh god, Sito! Oh, Sito totally missed, Sito totally missed when I did the Primivian Dem thing on stream. And, you know, when we first got to Tavnasian Archipelago, he totally missed it, because the first thing that happens when you arrive on the archipelago, you know, you arrive collapsed on the ground, is just 3 little Tarus just come along and just rustle through your equipment and steal the amulet that got you here. It's great. Oh, Warlock in FF14. I want an EverQuest 2 Warlock, which honestly is just an evil-skinned wizard. That was one of those weird things about EverQuest 2, is like EverQuest 2, at least initially, they sort of formatted everything around the idea of like you either start in the good city of Freeport or the evil city, or no, the good city of Kinos, the evil city of Freeport, and so every class just sort of had a good and evil variant. Also, I see the wife is home, so I need to kind of find a safe spot to park my ass and try to not die. And then I have to get the groceries in and see where we're at for like continuing the stream. But I guess let me see if I can find a safe spot real quick. I think I'll be safe here. I hope I'll be safe here. If I die, it's okay. If I die, it just means I have to grind more. It just means I have to grind more. So, put rest mode. And, okay. Gonna go to, see where we're at. So, give me a minute or two and hope that I don't die. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I see I'm not dead, too. That's nice. That's nice. So, groceries are in. We're good to keep going. So, no panic, no panic. Alright. Hop back in. Those little life interruptions. Can't avoid them. But I was kind of in the middle of a thought on wizards, though, which I have much to say about the wizard. Also, I think oh hey, look! Oh look, I forgot. I was just checking if there was any notice. I think there's supposed to be a maintenance in like an hour on Horizon. But oh, look at that! Xalia has fallen as a hardcore adventurer while playing as a 17 Beastmaster with a playtime of 115 hours. But they don't delete your character on this server. It's just you're not a hardcore anymore. Which, you know, honestly, that's probably how it should work on any server that has hardcore. Like, there's no need to like delete your character. Just unflag it as being hardcore, right? Like, you lost the challenge, now you're just normal. That's how it should be. I know people in like in World of Warcraft, they love getting deleted. People love getting deleted. But I think I would just sort of break down crying if I, like, let's say that I went through all the horse shit of this game and got to, like, level 74, and, you know, thousands and thousands of hours in, and then I just die for a stupid reason and get deleted. That would, like, I think that would kind of be a jump out the window moment right there. Yeah, I'm not sure how, like, official WoW servers do it, but on Turtle WoW, if you play hardcore and you die, you just get deleted, and you leave a tombstone in the world, which is kind of, like, that's kind of cool, right? The tombstone goes away eventually, but, like, oh, that's cool. But I guess for a game like the vanilla, more or less, World of Warcraft, I guess that's not as much of a time investment as, say, Final Fantasy XI. So I can kind of I can get why it's okay to be deleted there. I can sort of understand. But then again, I don't know, there's some crazy motherfuckers who, yeah, they want it, they want to get deleted, they can't wait for it, and I don't know, when it comes to permanent death in video games, there's only a very few games where I am okay with that, and it's normally like the more survival style games, you know, like if it's a survival style game, and let's say you die and your character gets deleted, but then you make a new one, and you're playing in the same world, so, oh, you could potentially find your old character's stuff and kind of carry on like that. That's fine. I got no issue with that. Oh, hey, wait, I just noticed. It's lightning weather here. Lightning weather means the summoner thing, right? Like, we could... does this place count as a dungeon? If it does, then I won't get anything, but yeah, it's lightning weather. So if I leave the area and come back, that'll trigger for the Carbuncle Ruby. Under attack. And hey there, Vexus. Yeah, so the thing is, I never really thought about it, but like, yeah, does Chains of Prometheus zones, do they... I would assume that any zone that isn't a dungeon would count for the Carbuncle Ruby, but yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so the zone out... Well, I could either zone into town or to the Mizoro coast. I don't really have a preference there, although it might be easier to zone out to the coast. Just, like, I think there's less... there's probably going to be less in my way going in that direction. Zone out should be right there. Oh no, wait, it's not. Huh. It's within my level range, but it's not attacking me. I'll take it. That's gonna attack me though. Also, yeah, Vexus, the OST for the Tavnasia areas, so far, I like it. I really like it. Although I am under the impression that this is like a remix. I believe this is a remix remaster here. Like, Horizon does that. But you know what? I like it. I should have a listen to the original, but I like the soundtrack here. It's doing it for me. I'm sure I'm gonna get like, oh god, cue that crazy motherfucker coming in here with his like, his ASCII porn art macros. Cue him coming in here when I say something about liking the remastered soundtracks. Which I had a little discussion with the wife about that, and she's a little more like, oh, I can understand someone not liking the changes and stuff, but it's like, oh, it's a bit much. Like, this dude's a weirdo. Alright, so let's see if it triggers my Carbuncle Ruby. It does not. It does not. So yeah, I guess COP zones don't... They don't trigger the weather effects. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Double plot twist. They're all the same person, Burn. But yeah, the dude was a weirdo, but like, I'm wondering if he's gonna keep at it, but we'll see, we'll see. The thing is, so to go to the conversation I had with the wife, like, look, I'm the guy that normally gets a little up in arms about unnecessary remasters and things of that like. But I don't like I don't like get offended or anything. I don't make a crusade out of it. It's just like, so for me it's stuff like, I don't know, the Silent Hill like the Silent Hill 2 and 3. I think those are the ones that sort of got a remaster at some point, and the remaster is just objectively worse. Like, it kind of ruins the graphics in a way, and the voice acting isn't quite what I would expect, and you know, that's an example where, yeah, I don't like that, but I don't hate it, you know, and it doesn't take away from, like, the original PS2 copies are still out there, you can still get them. Or, you know, you can emulate them nowadays pretty easily. It doesn't take away anything. I get a little more of, maybe a slight tinge of offense when something is remastered and it's the only version available. Like, then it becomes a bit of an issue. But yeah, it's like, it's nothing, you know, as long as you can still enjoy the original thing, it's not a problem, you know? And it's certainly nothing that I would just go on a crusade about. Yeah, Sito is on more of a crusade than me, but my philosophy is, as long as you can enjoy the original, it's fine. It's all good. Oh, a catapulter. Oh, I see why they call him a catapulter. Oh, these are real close together. If I Whirl Claw, that's gonna hit both of them. No. It's so hard to tell what the actual range on Whirl Claws is. Here we go. Yeah, now it's on. Now it's on. That big slam attack and then just face down. I don't know, when it comes to video games and people like, I don't know, remastering or making alterations or modifying. Oh god, I know that's a big thing with FF14, right? Like, I think with FF14, people go on a real crusade against people who they use mods, right? Like they mod the character models and stuff, and not always for porny reasons, but you know, just to change the look of stuff or to kind of bump up the graphics. And there's, I know that with FF14, there's a really weird sentiment of, no, Square Enix did it perfectly the first time. How dare you touch these pristine pixels? They were created as God and Yoshi intended. You know, honestly, I think it's really specifically Square Enix fans. Like, I have not seen people get this upset about, like, video games for any other video game. Not even those shitty Silent Hill remakes. There's just something about Square Enix fans, like, they really take it personally. And I don't think it's, like, I don't even think it's something like, oh, this is their childhood, they grew up with it. Like, no, for 14, no, it's definitely not that. That was kind of the argument I heard from the wife, was like, oh, I can get it, right? Like, it's, you know, they're very nostalgic about the, but with stuff like 14, no, it's not that. But yeah, I think so, Burn. It's like, yeah, Square Enix doesn't like gameplay, like, they don't like any kind of, like, even visual mods. They consider it all hacks, but they can't stop it. But because that is Square Enix's stance, the community then takes it a step further and is like, no, we must jihad against anyone who uses any sort of modification for the game. It doesn't matter. They're all guilty. They must be cleansed and purged. It's weird. People be weird like that. Also, oh no, my EXP ring. Gotta pop it again. Hey, look, I never used mods. I never used mods when I Savage raided, but that was a long time ago. Those fights get pretty fucking, like, they get really complex in terms of memorization. It's all just a memory game, but it does get a little ridiculous in what it wants you to remember. And I have a goldfish memory, so my favorite fights in Final Fantasy XIV, my favorite fights were the first run of kind of extreme difficulty stuff, like you know, Titan, Garuda, Ifrit Extreme, you know, Ramu. I loved Shiva Extreme, like those first kind of couple runs of Savage, or not Savage, but extreme fights. Those were my favorite content in the whole game. Like, I found the fights to strike a perfect balance between difficulty and memorization and just fun. But the later fights, like the later extreme and especially savage fights, they felt like they were crossing a line where there's so much memorization, like there's so much you have to just keep track of, that it stops being fun, you know? But that's just me. Also, oh god, what's a Y'shtola? Which, there was one person who made like a character, they made a fan character of Y'shtola, and their name was something like Y'shtola My Heart. That was their name. and they cosplayed the character perfectly. But people like their cat wizard. I don't want to just shit on Final Fantasy XIV today. Well, I guess I'm trying to be balanced in my approach here. I'm being balanced as I can be. But I guess the overall sentiment is just that Square, like, people that are really rabidly Square Enix fanboys, they're some of the worst I've ever seen, and I think it's that they're so blind in how much they kind of love and just kind of, they adopt a Square Enix policy as their moral code, which is just strange. Like, that's just weird. And I don't think I've ever seen that level of obsession about any other MMO or video game I've ever played. Like, no one, like, hey look, I'm an EverQuest fanboy, right? But you know, when they put out EverQuest 2, I just said okay. And as they kept ruining the franchise, it's just like, well, alright then. But yeah, I don't know, I just never... I never got how Square Enix fostered such a community that gets so up in arms for them. I've never really understood how that happened exactly, and the thing is, I don't really remember people being like that before Final Fantasy XIV. Like, even playing Final Fantasy XI, like, yeah, there were plenty of no-lifers, I remember that, but I don't remember people being as obsessive, even in the days of FF11. But now, it feels like something changed, and I'm not sure what. Well, I mean, there's always been the hardcore raider, but like, I don't really put the hardcore raider on the same level as the Square Enix fanboy. Like, don't, you know, again, don't get it crossed, because I played EverQuest, right? And I did raid a little bit in EverQuest, as much as I could, as a lower level, and I actually did get to, like, end game in EverQuest too, for the first expansion or two. And I did actually do some raiding in EverQuest too. And yeah, there were people who had that mentality of treating raiding like it's your job, and really just jumping up your ass. They really got their middle manager on about it. But that's... like, that is it's a very kind of controlled thing, I think. Like, if you weren't into that raiding scene, like, outside of your raid guild, no one really cared. and your raid guild only really cared about doing their raiding, right? Like they didn't really care about the company running the game or anything like that. It's just they just obsessed a little too much over that endgame raiding. The Square Enix fanboy is a different breed, all right? It's not about the gameplay. It's not about the game itself. It's about what Square Enix wants. It's like that's why you can't mod the game. That's why you can't remaster it as a fan. It's why you can't, use your own soundtracks or whatever. Oh god, people shit on, like, they would give me shit for just, like, okay, look, when I played FF14, and whenever I do pop in, I don't have the game's audio on. Like, the game is mute, and I have my own, like, I have my German heavy metal on, alright? And that's my soundtrack. But there's people that will lose their mind if you tell them that, yeah, I don't like, the game's music is fine, but I'd rather use my own. They'll go nuts on you. But you get what I mean. It's not about the game, right? It's not about the game for these people. It's about Square Enix and what they say and what they create. And that's kind of treated as like it's holy. You can't touch that. I think that's what is weird to me. I can get the hardcore raider, I can get the no-lifer, I can get all that, right? That makes sense to me because it's at least about your relationship with the game that you are playing. That makes sense to me. Like, no, some of the soundtracks in FF14 are really good. I actually like most of the soundtracks for the boss fights and stuff. It's just, the thing is that once you've heard them like 20 times, you kind of want to put your own music. Like, if I'm going to listen to a soundtrack over and over again, I'd rather listen to my own soundtrack, right? Like, I'd rather listen to what I want to listen to. But I always give the original track a listen, right? At least once. But then it's my own track. Oh god, yeah, the whole fa la 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 thing, like, oh god. Oh god. Or well, I mean, look, it's kind of just it's just an alteration of Halloween, but, the Moogle King soundtrack, come on. Come on. Yeah. But you know what? Surprisingly, German metal, it honestly goes really good with a lot of the boss fights in Final Fantasy XIV. It actually goes really good. But yeah, I always give the original track a listen. I always do. Ooh, I just noticed something in the text over here. My rabbit's attack was countered, and then my rabbit takes damage. I don't think I've seen enemies do that. Like, I didn't know they could counterattack. Huh. Oh no, slam dunk! He just dunked my rabbit. Oh, did these things drop coins? Like, I'm wondering if I can steal some beast coins from these guys. Oh god, I feel like that's a Freudian slip. The weeb is too strong. It's Ramenstein. Fucking noodles. Although nobody wants to listen to Rammstein right now. Nobody wants that right now. I actually never liked their music very much. Like, I'm not a huge, like, I've never really liked them. Not a fan. It's not bad. It's just I'm not a fan of that particular type of metal. I tend to go for a softer, a folk metal. Only a little hard. There's only a few hard metal tracks that I like, and it kind of goes on a song-by-song basis there. No, there's a lot of very nice folk metal that it kind of rides a line between being hard and then, you know, being very, very soft and sort of storyteller-ish. There's a lot of that, and it's real good. I like it. And it tends to fit really well with games, too. Alright. Yeah, I'm just... Oh, the catapult. Yeah, the catapulter. He's not gonna move. I have to come to him. Yeah, look at that. They will just sit there like assholes, throwing rocks at you until you engage. Like, even when you're up close, they'll still throw rocks at you. But I don't know. I like to, you know, on soundtracks for like FF14. I like most of the soundtracks. I got no problem. It's just once I've heard them enough times, I like to use my own, and it's weird that people get up in arms about that. But I think in general, even for bad Square Enix games, which yes, believe it or not, Square Enix has made bad games quite a lot in recent years, actually. But the one thing that usually never misses is the soundtrack. Like they know how to get people who can put a good soundtrack together. They're really good at that. So even if the game isn't great, the soundtrack will always be spot on. Though I'm a bit old school, so I have a lot of nostalgia for, like, if we're talking Square Enix game music, I have a lot of nostalgia for their music from, like, you know, this era and older, going back into the chiptune type of stuff. You know, like the old SNES Final Fantasy games. I have a lot of fondness for them. I kinda miss good chiptune music. I don't obsess over it, but I like a good chiptune. They're fun. I like my beeps and bloops. Which I've had this moment with the wife where, like, she doesn't like chiptune. It's just noise to her, and I'm like I'll have, like, it's like, but no, listen, like, and it's like Secret of Mana soundtrack or Chrono Trigger or something, and it's like she just hears noise, and I'm like, no. That's it, we're over. That is the best part, Sito. The best part. I don't know. Even when it's crunchy, I like a good chiptune soundtrack, even if it's crunchy. Which, to kind of bring it back around to, oh god, I got, like, shocked for a second. A little ringing just drove past. It's the ice cream truck. Oh god, it's like storming outside, and the ice cream truck is going around. But, it's okay, like, oh hey, I found a, wait, is that the level 8 maple shield? Why? Why does the giant drop a level 8 maple shield? I don't... But, okay, to bring it around to FF11, I can totally see why there's, like, you know, Horizon wanted to kind of remaster and do their own soundtracks for a lot of the music in the game. Because I have gone back and listened again to some of the original audio for the game, and it's good, but it is very crunchy. It's, like, you can tell it was compressed down because it was the PlayStation 2 era, you know? So I can see why you would want to kind of fix that. I get it. I think I've killed everything here. Oh, I haven't even been looking at my EXP. What am I up to? Nice, 8,600 out of 16,000. Also, I was under the impression that the server would be going down in about 20 minutes. Because yesterday I saw a notification about maintenance happening today. But I guess is it still on? Usually they announce that. I wonder if I've maybe just missed the announcement or something, but I haven't seen anything. Also, this orc has such a clever name. It's an orc that shoots a bow, so it's an orcish bow shooter. A very clever name. How does Square Enix do it? The bangers every time. It's so original. I totally would burn. Like I'll have my metal soundtrack on, like no matter what I'm playing. That's how I roll. Also, I see that my rabbit is about to die. Unless I feed it a carrot. Yeah. Alright, I'm just hoping that'll keep it alive for one fight. Yeah, I still need to play P5. I still need to do that. But I kinda... Like, I am the type that I tend to play one game for a very long time, or just a few games for a long time, and then I have to be in the mood to really sit down and play through a game in its entirety. Like, I gotta really be in the right space for that. And I'm not really in a Persona mood in the moment. I'm not sure when I will be. But let's see, both me and my pet are very low health, so let me get over here and rest up. I think this is a relatively safe spot to rest at. Relatively. I'm still just waiting for like the hammer to come down. Like when am I gonna get the announcement that the server is going down for maintenance? Because I did have my backup plan ready today. My plan was that, well, even without maintenance, my plan was that we were gonna half and half today. So half Horizon FF11, and then half City of Heroes or something like that. I wanted to poke around more with City of Heroes, but I'm just waiting for the servers. Like, give me that announcement that they're going down, or maybe they changed it. To be fair, I didn't check before I logged in. I do want to do those PS1 streams. That'll be a weekend thing, though. Probably. I don't know. I'm debating. It'll be harder to schedule it on the weekend. That's the thing. But I feel like they do better on the weekend. That's normally my XCOM time, though. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it during the weekday. Maybe we'll just cave in and do that. It would be easier to do PlayStation stuff on the weekdays. I have those games lined up. I have the one Barbie PlayStation 1 game. I've got because I figured that'd be timely. I have the Planet of the Apes 2001 movie tie-in game. What else? I got something else. I think the Blade game. I want to get to those. I really do. Yeah. Oh god. With XCOM, we kind of had that dumb cliffhanger. Like the last XCOM session was a complete and total shit show. There's no other way to say it. Like I downed an ethereal battleship, and I decided it would be a good idea to, you know, let's get in there and take it, right? And I pretty much got everyone killed, and the ones that didn't get killed were just fucked up beyond belief. And we came out of that with nothing but I think what I left that mission with was an ethereal commander, right? I got an ethereal commander. Like I dragged his body to the Sky Ranger and hit the get the fuck out button. But it was such a loss. Like that was terrible. It was a mess. But I'm still not sure if I want to keep it or not. I don't know if I want to keep it or not. Like yeah, we lost a lot, but we did get a commander out of it. I think we kind of agreed though that the losses outweighed what was gained, and that I should probably just scrap that and pretend it didn't happen. I think we kind of came to a mutual agreement on that. Yeah, the losses were too great. We've got to go back. It's time to employ the time machine. We've got to Terminator it. Yeah, I know. It was I captured a commander, but at the cost of like 80% of my good team and also all of the equipment that they had. That mission was just, it was a nightmare. Like I know that battleships in XCOM are always a nightmare. Like they're never good missions. But there were like, I think there were like 100 aliens on that map, and all of them were incredibly tough, like end game ethereals. So it was hell. So I guess we'll wind that one back and be a little more careful about such missions in the future, I guess. Oh yeah, so many sectopods, which, I mean, they're weak to lasers, but I didn't bring many lasers on that mission, to be fair. And the turrets, yeah, good god. There were just turrets everywhere. Yeah, that was not a fun mission. That was a bad time. It's what we call a bad time. Yeah, I remember that actually. I remember that. Like a sectopod blew through the side of the UFO just to kill one of my guys. Like the aliens on that map were incredibly aggressive. And they had such a good setup for their turrets that if I tried to get anywhere near the entrance to the UFO, my guy would just get gunned down instantly. It was a slaughterhouse, is what that ship was. It was a trap. It was, to be fair, it was kind of fun. Like, it was kind of fun trying to navigate that mess, but But yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't worth it. It was very not worth it. Uh-oh. I think I'm being attacked by two things. Let me solve this problem. There we go. Man, the enemies in this area, they seem to kind of roam around a lot more than enemies on most of the maps in the game. Like, most enemies have kind of a really limited walk radius, but these guys are all over. Yeah, look at that one just sneaking up on me. I need the nuke mod. It does sound fun, but I don't. No, we're playing it legit. We're playing it legit. But it does kind of feel like that should be an option in XCOM, right? Like it should be an option to just like do a missile strike or something. I guess technically, if you down a UFO and you don't do the mission, I guess you could just sort of headcanon it that that's what you did, right? Like you just nuked it from orbit, and that's why there's no UFO mission anymore. I guess you could just sort of, you know, logic it like that. Oh, we do need an Agent Barbie though. We do need that in our XCOM game. And also we need to do more with Agent Elon, given recent circumstances. We need to use him some more. You know, now that real world Elon has founded XCOM, we gotta give him a more proper place in the game. Yeah, I'm not getting many drops here. I was getting drops fairly reliably. I even got like multiple drops at the same time, but now I'm just getting nothing. But how's the loot looking so far? I've got 8 skins, 2 tusks, and some high-quality skins. I'd assume those HQ skins are worth a little bit more. I would assume. But I need to... I want to try and get at least a full stack of something to sell. Wait, am I being attacked right now? Oh god, it's gonna put... Oh man, we're gonna have to fight 3 things at the same time, aren't we? No, it looks like we... Okay. Just these 2. That's okay. I was very worried that other one was gonna attack me, and oh no, here we go. There's another one creeping up. The wandering enemies here, they're a little unpredictable. Like I feel like fighting here is a little more unpredictable. And oh yeah, I love the, you know, hey, maybe there's aliens now. Look, when can we just let's merge and the real world becomes the XCOM universe. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. The dimensional merge is upon us. Oh, anybody who gets that one, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, Cito, you don't know. Oh, you're blissfully unaware. Yeah, Cito. So, yeah, Twitter is now X, and if you type into your address bar, if you type in x.com, it takes you to Twitter. Twitter is XCOM now. It's canonical. This is reality. This is reality. But people are still, like, I love all this nonsense. People are still using Twitter. They can't stop. They can't stop! Ooh, what is this thing that I found? I found a chameleon diamond. Now, what is that? It's an EX item. Huh. This rare diamond changes color depending on the surrounding air temperature. Huh. I'm gonna guess that's maybe a quest item. Oh, and the wife returned. He's just being peaceful and napping, or well, resting. The cat's he's being adorable just on his cushion.
He's just sleeping very weirdly for a cat. Normally they curl up to some extent.
Yeah, but Silver likes to just kind of hang his head over stuff or on a pillow. He's very adorable.
Yes, he is.
Let's see, my pet needs to get healed up a bit.
Oh, Cito is talking about Musk.
Yeah. Well, it comes up because of the x.com thing.
Just sounds like a porn website.
I think there was the joke of, and now to buy up every X website, X videos next, and oh no. Oh, that'd be great. Huh.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be that 3 X's are the porn thing, not just one. To be fair.
Yeah, but to be fair, apparently it's not just me who saw it.
I guess my first thought was XCOM, not porn.
But it does sound like a porn website.
Yeah. Although with the actual logo and everything, it borders into XCOM territory with that logo. Like, that could be the logo for a new XCOM game. Oh, it's reality.
No, it's not. It's a fucking fever dream. I'm sorry. Are you still allowed to curse on Twitch?
I do, so.
Okay.
But, yeah, like, oh, it's X videos for putting your videos on Twitter. That's what it's. Oh, I have to wonder how much self-awareness is involved in all this, if any.
I think this man is just actually insane. Like, not just thinking about Twitter, not just about thinking of all the ludicrous lies he has spread, but also, did you see what he named his children?
Oh, yeah. Oh god, there's a Cito link. I'll check that out in a second. Alright.
It's an image.
Yeah, an image. Let me see if I can see it on my poor little phone here. Huh. Huh. Okay.
The thing is, Elon Musk never was a car maker. He bought a majority share in Tesla, but he didn't found Tesla. He just ran it into the ground.
He's a money man. Like, that's his thing.
Not even that, because every company that he puts money into over time just becomes a joke.
Oh, that's how modern investing works. Unfortunately, that's kind of just that's what people with lots of money do these days.
Yeah, and I give him 5 years before he gets arrested for the biggest Ponzi scheme in history.
All right. But we're keeping it light. We're playing our simple Final Fantasy game, all right?
I mean, he pumped up that stock, then sold a bunch of it off to after they pumped it down,
we try not to get too into it. It's just, all right. We just have our bits of happy coincidence here. Also, when do we get confirmation that there are in fact Martians on Mars? When do we get that confirmation? When do we get to do the Mars mission? The Sidonia or bust? Just make it happen in real life. Now, we go to weird places when we're just grinding in Final Fantasy. We go to real weird places. I'll try not to get too weird. But that's what happens when no one else is keeping us on topic. Which I'm not even sure what our topic should be. I shat on Final Fantasy too much. I gotta stop that. Though you know, playing a lot of FF11, it has kind of gotten me in the mood to play other Final Fantasy games. I'm not sure which one I'd want to play exactly. There's a few that I haven't done yet. Like, I haven't played Final Fantasy V. I haven't played that through. A couple of the older ones I haven't played, or I haven't played to completion. But then again, every time I think about playing a Final Fantasy game that isn't one of the MMOs, I kind of just default to tactics. I really like Final Fantasy Tactics. There's okay, well, okay, there's some cleanup I have to do here. Oh god, the timing, I keep getting attacked. So okay, when we end these things, I'm just gonna go clean up what the cat has brought. Okay. Alright, so once these things are down, the cat has apparently murdered something upstairs, so I'm gonna deal with that, and then we'll continue. Which also, I swear, I thought there was maintenance on the server today. I was prepared to have to log out, like, right now. But, it's not happening. Huh. I didn't check their Discord in a while, so maybe they pushed it back or something. God, are there any more things around me? No, okay, I don't want to have to kill everything before I can sort of retreat to a safe spot. Which technically, look, nowhere is really 110% safe. Things can happen, but I think if I go over here, like in between these two areas, it's relatively safe. Relatively. So I'll use the time to get my pet to rest, and I'll get my health up, and yeah, let's let's take a quick second. I will be right back. Have to go and clean up the cat's mess. So, be right back. I'm back. I'm back. There was just a little pile of guts and blood upstairs, so the cat definitely murdered something up there. They were performing some dark ritual without me knowing. All right. So settling back in. Also, I'm not sure if that I've never heard that word used, but that's kind of like just like the two words individually, Sito. That's like own and gray, which I'm trying to think kind of like there's maybe a poetic context for that because it doesn't really have a meaning that I'm seeing put together. But I know what the words mean. There's a lot of German words that are like that, where like it's a compound word and you know what you know what the parts of the compound word mean, but together it doesn't really have any inherent meaning. It's a little more poetic, if you will, or a little non-conversational. There's a lot of non-conversational words. Okay. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure most Germans would just say black on that one, but that does sound very. It sounds like poetic language, or very specific language, like that. That doesn't really, yeah. Oh god, I'm being attacked from behind. I gotta stop fighting things in the middle of the field here. I think that's my problem. Let's see, how's my stacks of items coming? So the only thing that I really have like a stack of, or I'm gonna have it soon, is the Bugard skin, the Boogard skin. Not sure on that one. Verdict is out also. Oh god. Okay, I have to... Taking too much damage. I really need my pet to do Whirl Claws right now. Alright, anybody else like behind me or... No, we're okay. I just rested my health up, but now I'm nearly dead again. Okay, well, yeah. Now let's back off and full stack. There is an auction house in the town over here. Like I don't have to go all the way back to Sandoria or whatever. There is an auction house in the Tavnasian stronghold, so I don't have to make a big trip. Also, Sito, I've never really gotten a good feel for how popular are the Fatal Frame games, or at least I should say, how popular are they outside of Japan? I feel like those games are probably a lot more popular in Japan, but I think for stuff like that, for big titles, they really want them to do well everywhere, and I know some people really love the Fatal Frame games, although the people I know that really love the games, they tend to like the older ones, and they don't really talk about the ones that came later very much. And most people just don't know they don't know what a Fatal Frame is. So I feel like it's not a very popular franchise. But at some point, oh wait, Fatal Frame, those were PlayStation 2, right? I guess I could give them a shot now, huh? I could get in on that. I guess I'll have to, I will have to legally acquire some copies of them Fatal Frame games. You know, I'll just go to the old cursed video game shop downtown, where you can get games with crayon labels written on them, and they possibly might have a demon in them. You don't know. There might be a hyper-realistic Sonic in there somewhere. Alright. So let's make our way to town. I would like to see how much the skins and stuff that I've found, how much that's worth. Well, voice acting from that time period is... some of it's okay, but a lot of it is... I feel like a lot of that legendary voice acting, if you will, was from the PS1 and PS2 era. I don't think voice acting really became a thing that people took seriously until like the PS3 and onward. Though I do like me some good stiff voice acting. I sure do. Which it kind of goes back to the Silent Hill games. I really like that really awkward, stiff voice acting in Silent Hill 2 and 3 and 4. That's some of my favorites. But I know for a lot of people, they just consider that bad. And I feel like they're missing a layer of the amusement there. Also, you know what, let me check something real quick. I thought for sure the servers were going down, like, right now. Let me check that real quick. Let me pop on Discord and... let's see, did they update that? Like, did I read it wrong? Yeah, today is July 28th. Oh, I see, 4 o'clock. So that's 4 o'clock my time. So that's gonna be in another 2 hours. Okay, I misread that then. I guess I thought it said like 14, which would be now, but it's 4, just 4. Okay, then yeah, I'll pop another EXP ring. I'll go ahead and do that. We'll do one more EXP ring worth of killing, and then we'll go and sell our stuff and switch games to City of Heroes. But I got one more EXP ring in me. Yeah, the weirdness in 2 and 3, I don't know about 4. I liked 4. I actually, Silent Hill 4 is actually kinda my favorite one. It's because it's the first one I ever played. And it's just so weird. But, I never thought the voice acting was bad, and I certainly saw how it was on some level intentional. But I don't know. There are people who only see that as just bad. Ooh, a Gygus Martialist. Like, does that mean he's a martial artist? Like he's a monk class? Is that what that means? Well, when you say 4 is your least favorite of all the Silent Hills, are you including the non-original Team Silent Hills in that? Because if you put Silent Hill 4 below like Homecoming, we must have words. We must come to duel. But oh, you done it now. I thought 4, I thought Silent Hill 4 is still, it still very much feels in the spirit of Silent Hill, to me at least. And I liked how it plays, I like the story, it has some really good visuals, I really liked it. But then you take Homecoming, and I really don't like Homecoming very much. Homecoming has its moments. It has some very good environments, but the story is just sort of a rehash of 2, but slightly different, and it overall feels like it maybe borrowed too much from the movie. I don't know. I got issues with Homecoming. I mean, I don't know. I think people are pretty mixed feelings on Downpour, and I'm pretty mixed feelings on that one too. For some things, Downpour, like, on some levels, Downpour feels really good and like what you want, but then sometimes it really doesn't. Downpour is a very mixed bag. But for me, I would rate Downpour above Homecoming. But I guess I'd rate it like this. For me personally, Silent Hill 3 is the best one. Like, in terms of both story and gameplay, 3 is probably the overall best, although 4 is the one I have the most fondness for. Like, I like 4 the most, but even I can say, okay, 3 is probably objectively better. So I'd say, like, 3 is the best, then 2, then 4, and then, well, okay, you gotta put 1, I mean, 1 has to be in there, so 1 above 4. But then, and then after 4 is all of, just everything that came after that, right? Everything after comes after 4. Oh man, even Origins higher than 4, man. I never knew someone could be so wrong. I mean, I don't know, I never quite got what people don't like about 4. Like, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, because for me, 4 was my very first introduction to Silent Hill. Oh hey, look, another human player! A pink and blue-haired Taru, huh. But anyway, yeah, I guess I never got what was bad about 4. For me, I like how it plays. I thought it, like, I guess Silent Hill 4 was also, so here's a little bit of double history. All right, Silent Hill 4 is really the first horror game. Like, it's the first horror game that I really sat down and played through from beginning to end. I had very briefly played, like, Resident Evil 2, and I played that game maybe a little, I was too young, and it scared me, right? I was too young. But I'd say that 4 is the first horror game I really sat down and played all the way, and really got into it, right? Like, I really got into survival horror after playing Silent Hill 4. Like, after that, that's when I played through the other Silent Hills, and then I got the Siren, you know, the first Siren game. I really got into survival horror after playing that. But so for me, like, it was an awesome experience. I guess I don't get what people don't like about it. But maybe I have that unique perspective in that, you know, it was kind of my first intro, not just to Silent Hill, but really to survival horror in general. So maybe that kind of worked out in my favor there. Like, I didn't go into it with any sort of, like, no preconceived expectations or anything. I mean, 4 does have a lot of, it does have some of the visual storytelling. I mean, I think it's more in the environment, though, like those giant worm things, right? Which, for the longest time, I didn't get what the point of the big worms that are kind of, you see them periodically throughout the levels, and you can see holes in some of the levels where the worms presumably went through, like, and I know there's the whole umbilical cord thing with that, and maybe some other implications too, but I think it's more in the environment, the storytelling, than in the enemies in 4. And oh, that's a big take. That's a big hot take there, Cito. I mean, to be fair, I've never really sat down and played a Resident Evil game other than 5 and 6, which I know 5 and 6 are considered, like, they're considered the weak ones, right? They're more action than horror, but I loved RE5 and 6. But I haven't really played any of the quote-unquote good ones. Like, I haven't played anything before 5 or after 6. I own all of the RE remakes. I really should give those a shot, because I I've tried to play the PlayStation 1 Resident Evil games, like RE1, 2, and 3, but it's not that I thought they were bad, it's just I don't know, I didn't get into them, and I feel like they don't handle very good. And I played Silent Hill 1, and I didn't feel that issue with Silent Hill 1. But with the Resident Evil games, the first 3, I couldn't really get into them. So at some point I'll just have to try the remakes and see if that settles better with me. And I want to get around to it, Burn, I really do. It's just, again, the way that my brain works, I have to be in the right mood for jumping into and playing something to completion. Because I do, I do own all these games, and I want to play them, I do. Oh, look at that! I see that! I see that Bogart over there. I see him just stomping over towards me. Or not Bogart. I don't know how the game wants that pronounced, but however it is, they certainly look weird. But I don't know, like I think outside of like the visual storytelling on Silent Hill 4, to get back to that, I really like the gameplay of 4 a lot, and I know that a lot of people complain about the ghosts, but the ghosts were actually kind of my favorite part of Silent Hill 4, and I guess what you have to keep in mind is that Silent Hill 4 was not just my first Silent Hill game, but yeah, it was like the first horror game that I really played, so I didn't have any sort of notions, expectations, you know, I went into it just not really knowing how the genre works even. But for me, I really liked the ghosts because they kind of, like, they always kept me on my toes, you know, they always sort of pushed me forward, and they were very effective in the horror department, for me at least. But then, you know, halfway through the game, you get your first sword, right, and you can pin them down with that, and I very quickly on my own learned that you're supposed to use those for the boss ghosts, right? Like, you down the boss ghosts, and then they're just done for the rest of the game. And really, it's the boss ghosts that are, like, they're the real threats. The common ghosts don't really do a whole lot. That, and you get those saint medallions, which, you know, you wear that, and they just literally don't do anything to you, so... I kind of felt like the ghosts were, I think the game gives you a lot of ways to work around the ghosts. But yeah, I don't know, they were like my favorite part of that game. I think the enemy that I didn't like the most in Silent Hill 4, I know there was, so okay, the enemy that I really didn't like in 4 was, well, there's one, okay, the one that I didn't like in terms of it being, like, way too uncanny is the creepy, like, twin baby head monster things that just point, like, they just stand in hallways and point at you until you get close. And they're almost always in, like, a corner, so you just sort of round the corner and then, oh god. I hated those. But then I'd say, like, in terms of mechanically, I think well, like, the dogs in that one are kind of hard to actually, like, they can be a little tough to fight, but I think mechanically the giant nurse things, right, that game's equivalent to the nurse. And it's just because they're so, like, they're so big and awkward in how they move. And wait a second, I'm pretty sure you get more than 2 swords. I distinctly remember getting more than 2 swords, Sito. Like, I distinctly remember getting enough swords to down all the bosses. Like, there were literally as many swords as there were bosses. I distinctly remember that. And it's because I played through Silent Hill 4 dozens of times. Like, I played through the game literally dozens of times. I am so sure there's more than 2 swords. Although I am like I know that I downed all the bosses. Yeah, okay, yeah. There was enough swords for all the bosses. Like, I'm pretty sure that is their purpose in the game. Which also, as a quick aside, because I am noticing there's a lot of people just kind of lurking about right now. I'm sorry if our discussion is going very off topic of Final Fantasy in general, but that's just sort of what happens when I don't set I don't really set a target goal for the stream, and it just becomes, let's talk, right? So sorry if it's not Final Fantasy related enough right now. It happens. I like to put that disclaimer out every now and then. Which, hey, if you want to bring it back on topic, feel free to speak up. There's no interrupting on this stream. I mean, I think so, Sito. I think maybe you're only remembering that many because if I remember correctly, only the first ghost sword thing in that game is given to you. Like, there's a room you have to go through, and the sword and the ghost are just right there. But I don't think the other swords, I don't think they're in places you have to go, or they might be a little bit hidden or something. Like, they might be easily missable, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'd have to look into that. Like, I honestly can't remember how hidden the swords were. Silent Hill 4. But I guess I'd have to maybe look it up and see where the swords are, because what I remember is only one of them being right in your face. The other ones are kind of... Although, I do kind of, and also, sorry if you guys overhear something a bit. The wife is making coffee, and
the wife didn't have coffee in the morning.
Yeah, and the coffee machine is right over here, so I'm very sorry. I hope it doesn't come through too much. It won't last long.
It is a very quick coffee machine.
Yeah. But I do know maybe one reason why you think there's only 2 swords, so maybe it's just that you use them but on common ghosts, and you basically lose your sword if you do that. As far as I remember... Yeah, but the thing is, the common ghosts, what I remember is, and maybe I'm wrong, but if you put the sword in just the common encounter ghosts, I think those are semi-randomized in a way, so if you pin one down, it'll just appear later in the next level anyway, right? But the boss ghosts, those stay down permanently. You'll stop encountering them. But, so I think maybe a lot of people, they use the sword on common ghosts, and the ghost just comes back anyway, so it's like, oh, it's like you didn't even use it, right? Huh. Maybe it's just that there's, well, okay, to be fair, there's several ghosts, right? And the boss ghosts, you definitely know them when you see them. But the common ghosts, they're pretty much interchangeable. Like, they all function exactly the same, even if they look a little different. So it's maybe just that the common ghosts, there's so many of them, and they all are the same, you just don't notice it. But that's sort of a waste of a sword, because the common ghosts they're almost harmless. But the boss ghosts, like, no, they'll fuck you up. And if you don't have a sword for them, then the game gets a lot harder. But I think also something that I've seen, because I have seen people play Silent Hill 4, and I think where a lot of people misstep with the game, and why they think the game is a lot more bullshit than it is because they don't realize that the little round circle on the screen is a charge attack bar. And if you charge your weapon to maximum and then attack, you get iframes. Like, you are invincible for the duration of your attack.
Actually, a lot of hardcore fans think that's
Some, but I'm more speaking to, like, some people talk about the difficulty of the game, and it's usually that they don't realize you can charge attack. And the way the game is designed, you kind of have to charge attack for certain encounters, or you'll just take damage. So, like, the game does want you to use that, and it does account for that. But I've seen people that have played through in its entirety Silent Hill 4, and they never realized you could charge your weapon, and I would see them just complain endlessly that the combat is so broken and unfair, and so...
The combat of the earlier games equally broken and unfair, plus you didn't get iframes?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you want to talk about exploitability, like, in Silent Hill 2, you can beat any monster in the game by circle strafing around it and smacking it with the wooden plank. Literally, the AI is so bad, it doesn't know how to deal with that. So, it's not like you couldn't cheese Silent Hill games before. It's just this time, the game actually, like, no, it's like, here's a mechanic involving iframes. So, I was okay with it. And, well, also, it was my first Silent Hill, so I didn't think much of it. But, I know the big one, that people who never figure out the charge bar, or the charge circle, very early on, there's that section where you have to go up the, like, the escalator in the subway.
Oh, with the things that come out of the wall.
Yeah, and if you don't know about the charge attack, like, you're just gonna get smacked and pushed back over and over again. Yeah,
I've seen someone bait them and run past.
Yeah, no, you can bait and run past, but it's a lot harder than if you just do like if you run forward and do a charge attack, you can just iframe straight through their attack. And it is so much easier when you know you can do that. Like, it's not ungodly tedious when you know that. But I know that's one section where people really give the game shit. But to be fair, the game does give you an easier way to do it.
Doesn't teach you that a charge attack exists.
I think maybe that's the issue. So, like, in Silent Hill 4, I mean, much like every to be fair, this isn't a Silent Hill 4 problem. None of the Silent Hill games ever give you a tutorial for anything. At least the original 4. But yeah, they never explain that you can use charge attacks to... Like, they don't explain that it's a mechanic you can do. But for me, I figured it out pretty quickly. Because when you... Like, if you hold the button down to attack, even for a fraction of a second, the little circle gauge starts filling up. So even if you're just kind of mashing the button, like, really hard or fast, it'll start filling the gauge. And, I mean, at a certain point, you should realize that pushing the button or holding it fills the circle, and you might wonder, okay, what's that about? So you experiment and you do that, and then you realize it's a charge attack, and then if you use that attack in combat, you'll very quickly realize that you've got iframes. So, like, for me, that wasn't too hard. Also, again, sorry about coffee machine noises.
You know, that whole statement is pretty bold for someone who never figured out that you could use the gun in Bloodborne to counter enemies.
Yeah, I just thought it was like an option, like, oh, you can do a ranged build or a melee build.
I mean, you can absolutely do a ranged build, but it's endgame and it's grueling. But no, you didn't figure out the entire game that the gun was meant to counter enemies, despite it having such puny damage.
Yeah, I never realized. The game never points it out, and
The game does point it out. The game has a tutorial on the floor, you just have to activate the messages.
Yeah, I never...
The game actually teaches you to do that. You just ignored it.
Well, to be fair, I think the problem on that one is that having played, you know, Demon Souls and Dark Souls...
They also have a tutorial on the floor in the beginning area.
Yes, but I did that in Demon Souls, and then I didn't need to do it in Dark Souls, and so I figured I don't need to do it in Bloodborne either. Like
yeah,
that.
But Bloodborne has significantly different mechanics from Dark Souls and Demon Souls.
Yeah, well, my point is that since these games can be very similar, you just sort of go into it thinking, yeah, I got it, and you know, you're kind of on auto, right?
Okay, then I have a question. Why did you never wonder why there wasn't a parry option?
So okay, to be fair, I only ever played mages in Demon Souls or Dark Souls, so I never parried ever to begin with. So, like, my strategy in Demon Souls is to shoot things with magic, and that's it, and it works pretty good.
So, yeah, I wonder how people missed that statement. It's pretty bold for someone who missed a massive
Well, the thing is...
massive part of Bloodborne that was explained to them.
But the thing is...
Did you never get countered by an NPC?
I don't think so. Or maybe it was just like, I was just so tough I didn't think anything of it.
No, the counter is pretty harsh in Bloodborne.
I mean, what I remember is my tactic for most enemies was just kind of dodge around to their back and smack them, and that's what I did. Like, and it worked every time. It never not worked.
I'm pretty sure you didn't fight the bloody Crow of Canehurst.
Yeah, look, I haven't 100%.
It's an optional NPC
Yeah.
that is a little hard to get into.
Yeah. But my point is, I never complained about it, because, like, I played through Bloodborne and it worked, and I had fun, and I beat the game. Like, no complaints from me. So, clearly, it didn't, like, it was okay, it didn't matter. But with Silent Hill 4...
Guys, he missed the 2 last boss fights of that game. He did not beat that game!
But I think the difference is I never felt like I was missing anything. Like,
except for the 2 last boss fights?
Well, yeah, but with Silent Hill 4, if you don't know you can charge attack, the game, yeah, in certain sections the game is almost unplayable, and I think that's the thing, right? Like, if you miss out on that, that's gonna really give you issues. But with, yeah. So I will say, for Silent Hill 4, yeah, probably they should have made it more clear that there was a charge attack and what it does. But I guess to be fair to Silent Hill 4, none of the previous games tutorialized you at all. Like,
yeah, and the previous games had easy attack patterns that you didn't need to get an explanation on.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think that is, to be fair, that is a difference. Like, in Silent Hill 4, the enemies are... Some of them, like the dogs, just have erratic attack patterns, and, like, if you don't have iframes, you're just gonna get hit. You're going to get hit. So you need the iframes in that game. Or, well, okay, to be fair, you don't need them. You could probably beat the game without them, but not nearly as comfortably.
point still stands. You made that exact mistake in another game.
Yeah, but I never felt like just during the course of normal gameplay, I never felt like I never had a, oh, this game is broken moment. You know, I never had that. Like, maybe I was going slower than I could, but it didn't matter too much. It wasn't a game changer, or like not a you can't really comfortably play the game without it kind of thing. But I feel like we've gotten very far off from Final Fantasy, but well, I don't know. No,
yeah, of course, Double didn't do the Chalice dungeons.
I remember I saw those, and I think I started one, but I very quickly realized, like, wait, is this some, like, random dungeon stuff?
Nope. There are random Chalice dungeons, but there's also a campaign through them.
Oh. So, for me, I played a little bit, and my first thought is, this feels like a random dungeon thing. And so I thought, you know, there's enough scripted game to play. I'm just not gonna worry about this for now. And then I never went back to it.
There is a scripted way through the Chalice dungeons in which you, at the end, beat a specific boss. I'm not gonna mention in case there's anyone in chat that hasn't played Bloodborne yet but wants to play it.
But yeah, I don't know. I think at the time, what maybe put me off from doing those is I think it gave me a bit of a... There was another game on the PlayStation 3 that it had like random dungeons that were optional you could do, but they all looked really samey, and it wasn't fun, it wasn't entertaining, it was just kind of a time waster. And I think that game, I think it was Folktale something, but it put me off from the idea of doing random dungeons, and that kind of stuck with me for a while. So if I even had the feeling I was in a random dungeon, I was like, no, I want out. I think nowadays I'm more open to it. Now, I mean, I like some games I liked had random dungeons, like the Dark Cloud games. But the Dark Cloud games also get really repetitive in the end game. But they're just random. Gotta be in the mood for it, I think.
Yeah, Burn, I'm pretty damn close to 100%ing it on my PlayStation account, but quite honestly, I'm burnt out on Bloodborne at this point because I played through it like 4 times.
I think that's the thing. I was a little... by the time that I beat Bloodborne, I was... Like, I felt like I was satisfied, like I'm done, you know?
Yeah,
and then...
but you missed the 2 last bosses, the entire DLC, another entire branch of the game, and a major game mechanic. So maybe do revisit it at some point.
Well, I still need to play Dark Souls 2 and 3, and...
You don't need to play Dark Souls 3, nobody needs to play that mess.
Like, there's other games I would like to get to before that.
You don't need to play Dark Souls 3, no one needs to play that mess.
Oh yeah, also the PS Plus thing. I never had PlayStation Plus, so yeah, multiplayer was kind of off the table for me for anything.
Burn, that isn't a hot take in the Dark Souls community, that's just a hot take for me because their engine was so broken that my PC kept crashing, and then I got penalized for quote-unquote cheating. And I still can't play with my friends on my PC. So Dark Souls 3 is hot garbage.
Oh, I believe that's the package of cat food. One moment. Alright, it was in fact the cat food that I ordered. Also, I just realized we've gotten so distracted that I've gone to the wrong place on the map that I wanted to go to. I was wondering why all of a sudden there's these things here. I guess I can fight though. I haven't tried to fight the Trent, which I've always wondered if it's Trent or Treant or how that's supposed to be pronounced.
How is it spelled?
Well, Treant, like, well, not the specific, but like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure how that would pronounce. But gonna rest my rabbit up first. Oh, Dark Cloud 2. I think I still have. I think I have both Dark Cloud 1 and 2 on my shelf behind me. I think I still have that.
What are those about?
That's hard to describe, but I guess they're JRPG dungeon crawlers with random dungeons. But the big aspect of those games is that as you go around the world, each town has to be rebuilt. So you get the Giorama, and you, like, as you go down the dungeon, you get parts of the Giorama, which is like people's houses, trees, roads, etc. And you kind of build the towns.
Interesting.
And then populate it with NPCs, and like it for a PlayStation 2 game, that was really innovative. Like, that's still innovative.
Also, I absolutely agree with Burn. That is the equivalent of you beating Bloodborne. And yes, Tito, I don't think I'll ever go back to FromSoft either, but it's mostly because I'd spent another 1,500, 2,000 hours with the games. And I kind of value having a life.
I would like to play the Demon's Souls remake thing.
Yeah, but we're not buying a PS5.
Yeah. Eventually, I don't know.
No, we're not buying a PS5. I am not rewarding Sony for that shit show.
I want to play that remaster. Oh.
I want to play it too, but we're not buying a PS5.
Well, the problem is, you can't, like, I would actually love to just play the original game again, but my PS3 is a little... It runs PS1 and PS2 games okay, but PS3 games kind of break its graphics card now, so I think it's getting too old.
Did you ever do the cleaning out of dust that you wanted to do with that poor thing?
No, because it's really likely you'll just break it. You need more skilled hands for that. More skilled than mine. But, I mean, there is like I think there is a working PlayStation 3 emulator, but I don't think it's quite perfect yet. When that gets better, then I might try and play Demon's Souls again.
Yeah, that might be a better idea than paying, what, $600, $700 for a console that wasn't available to most people for the first year it was out.
Oh yay, first tree kill. Got a sprig of mistletoe and a puffball. See what that is. Oh, I'm full of loot. Just been killing things like crazy here. Oh, it's a fishing thing, I think. Or it's a usable item. It's either a fishing thing or it's just an item.
Yes, Tito.
Only getting an N64, not a PlayStation. Oh. The funny thing is, back in the day, I had an N64 and then I traded it for a PlayStation. And that's when the guy that I traded it to, one of the games that I got with that was Legacy of Kain Blood Omen. And I'm trying to think, this was in probably 1997, something like that. So I would have been like 8 or 9 years old. And I still distinctly remember when I traded, the guy was like, oh, you can pick any of these games, they'll go with it. And I was like, oh, that one looks neat. And it's like, are you sure about that? And I'm like, yes I am.
Kids are fucking stupid.
But I loved Blood Omen. I was probably way too young to be playing it, but I loved that game. Some good monologues in there. Also, wait, is that a player or a monster? That's a monster. It's a monster that looks like a player. I've never seen that in the game before. I gotta get over there. I will kill my way there. I mean, Square is putting their games on Steam a lot more. A lot of JRPG franchises in particular, which they used to, it would be unheard of for them to get like PC releases 10 or so years ago. But nowadays I'm seeing a lot of them come to Steam. Like, oh, you can play Star Ocean. I think you can play Star Ocean 4, 5, and the new one on Steam now. That's crazy. Which I still, I don't think I'll wait till the newest Star Ocean is on an extreme discount, because Star Ocean has only gotten worse since 3. I still like them, but they've only gotten worse. Like, what is this? It's like an NPC party up there. A bunch of humanoid enemies. I've never encountered that in the game, but I don't know that I can fight all 3 of them at the same time. So I'll stick down here. And oh yeah, I guess the FF7 remake that is on Steam now too. And Epic. Oh, I always forget about Epic. I always forget about them. I think everyone does. And also the wife has retreated, so we can get a little more on topic now. But we're back in my realm of JRPGs, which it's kind of funny. I don't really consider myself to be like the JRPG guy or anything like that, but I mean, I do really like JRPGs. I do really like them. Even the ones that aren't the greatest. Oh. Sito has to go terrorize some more children again, I think. Gotta collect those pages real quick. So I should probably let my pet rest up a little bit, shouldn't I? But I think I can fight like one more enemy. And then my pet is gonna need to sit down for a minute. Oh yeah, I haven't been checking. How's my EXP looking? I'm actually getting close to leveling up. See, this is why I love Beastmaster, is I can just sort of casually grind and banter, and before you know it, like, oh hey, another level. I don't think I'm gonna level up here and now, especially because the server is like coming down in about an hour now. In about an hour, the server's going down. I'm guessing they'll send out an announcement about the server in a little bit. I would assume. I'd assume they're not just gonna, you know, at the last like 10 minutes put out something. Alright, this looks like a good enough spot to rest. So I don't need to rest though, so I'll just kind of stand here and watch the pet. Manage my inventory a little bit. So I wonder if that mistletoe is worth anything. Probably not. I always assume nothing is worth anything. But I have a full stack of Boogard skin, so I'm looking forward to seeing how much that sells for. okay, I have this chameleon diamond. I would, while my pet's resting, I would like to take a quick look, you know, crack open the wiki. And I'd like to see what the chameleon diamond is actually used for. So, chameleon diamond. And apparently I can sell it to an NPC for like 500 gil. That's nice. So it is used in the quest In the Mood for Love. So the requirement for that quest is doing Promathia Mission 3-2. So it isn't part of 3-2, I don't think, but you have to have gotten that far, I think. So, okay, the quest is, so there's a character in Juno. You trade them the chameleon diamond, and that just completes the quest. Huh. So it's a really easy quest. You just trade an NPC the diamond, and they give you 4,800 gil. I think I'll hold on to that diamond then. I believe I will hold on to it, but it is kind of weird that it's a non-tradable item. Yeah, it's a non-tradable item. I guess you can sell it to NPCs, like it could just be vendor trash, but that it serves no purpose other than that quest, and I guess there are a few items in the game like that. Like the sub-job items back in the Dunes. I guess there are a few things that don't serve a purpose outside of that quest. I guess that's not really such a rarity. Alright, well, my pet is rested up, and I don't know, these enemies, they're like, what? They're like level 42, 44. I guess I could try and take them. These Fomor thieves and rangers. Let's do it. Yeah, look at this. They're, Hold on, I want to get my pet, like, into the thick of things here. I want to make sure his whirl claws actually do something. But yeah, look at this. They're like shadow people. They're weird shadow people. But they have player equipment and classes. This is very different. Unfortunately, they're not overly tough. That's good. It's just for me. It's very strange. I have yet to encounter like player-like enemies in the game. The hell was that attack? Huh. But none of them really seem to drop any sort of like good loot or anything, unless maybe they have something I can steal. I'm wondering if they're for a quest or something? I don't know. Oh, they're down. I didn't get anything especially good out of it. They dropped some cash, but that was it. Huh. Oh, I got hit with some kind of affliction. Oh, I'm drowning right now. Ah, good, I'm drowning. Also, oh my god, I just get it. Why? I killed one of these giants, and it dropped like a level 8 shield. I get it now, because they have shields on their belt, right? Yeah, they have, like, they wear they wear low-level shields as kind of their armor, so that's why they drop a level 8 shield. Oh my god. Oh, here we go. Yeah, look, the server's gonna be going offline for maintenance in 55 minutes. There we go. So, I'm gonna keep killing things till my EXP ring wears out. Oh god, look at that. It's right next to my rabbit. I can't. Well, okay, I have to. Okay, now it's safe for me to get in there. But yeah, I'll kill things till my EXP ring is out. Then I'll go trade up, see what I can sell, see how much anything I have is worth. But I don't think another maple shield. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play all the way up to the server going down, because that's actually gonna be like a little late for me. So I'm just gonna finish my EXP ring, deal with my inventory, and then we'll switch over to City of Heroes. That's the game plan for now. Oh hey, there's the Taru again. I wonder what they're doing. They're wearing gatherer's gear, right? So I guess they're gathering things. I will say it feels a little weird being out here in the meadows. There's almost no other players around. Like, when I first got here, I was the only player in the zone. And I guess it's a consequence of, you know, having to do the Prometheans to get here, right? So there's that sort of immediate barrier to entry where some players just, I guess some players conceivably just never will deal with that. So I kinda just have all this nice area just to myself. Kinda like that. Let's work our way a little bit closer to town. I feel like my my EXP ring is probably not gonna. It's probably not gonna hold out much longer, if I had to guess. Also, while we still have our Final Fantasy time here, I mean, technically there's nothing. There is technically absolutely nothing stopping us from ranting and raving about Final Fantasy while playing City of Heroes. Technically there's nothing to stop us on that. But I guess if anybody, if any of the people lurking in the shadows have any Final Fantasy things they want to talk about, well, I guess now is the time while we're still here, while the servers are up. Also, I just sort of had a little bit of a realization. It's nighttime, right? It's nighttime, but I'm noticing that there's no undead anywhere. I wonder if, like, maybe the undead only appear in certain parts of this zone, or... Oh wait, maybe that's what the, like, those shadow people, like, are they the equivalent of undead in this zone? I wonder. You know what? That might make sense, because they only came out after dark, so... I guess, yeah, maybe they're the equivalent to skeletons and ghosts here. That would kind of make sense. Also, I find it really funny that this giant monster here is intimidated by my rabbit's presence. I find that to be comical. Like, this giant-ass monster is scared of my little rabbit. Oh, well, see you next time then, Cito. See you next time. So I think town is just right over there. I'm not sure if there are any more monsters. Oh, hey, look, a fisherman. Okay, so there are people out here. There's people here. I'm not alone. And I see that my EXP ring has faded. Yeah. Well, I think I got a good haul, right? I got half a stack of socks and necklaces. I have a full stack of these skins, and I got some high-quality skins, too. So, yeah, I guess I'll see how much all this is worth, if it's worth anything. Also, all of a sudden, there's just a really weird, like, candy-like smell in the air. I'm not sure what that's about. But it's like, oh, the air is just suddenly candy scented. Huh. Okay, so in the stronghold, I know there's an auction house here. I'm not exactly sure where the regular merchants are. But I know there's an auction house in here. And I think I know, I think I know what I kind of have a little bit of an issue with the Tavnasian stronghold. I think I know what my issue is. See if you can point to the issue. So let me just open my map. So what's a little bit different here than most of the town maps in the game is nothing is marked. Like literally nothing in this stronghold has any kind of marking written on it. In Sandoria or Bastok or Windurst or Juno or like in any of the other cities in the game, I think even like even Selbina and Mara and stuff like that, they have the big shops and guilds and the auction house and all that. Like they have that stuff marked on the map. But literally nothing is marked here. Absolutely nothing. So I don't know where anything is. I just have to kind of remember where everything is. Man, there's actually a lot of people in the stronghold. Oh, hey, I found a bell sprout. Okay, so this looks like a shop, right? This looks like a merchant to me. What do they sell? Huh. Lufay's flies. Why would you buy a clothes pole? I don't really understand why you'd buy any of these things for these prices. Huh. Alright, so the sheep meat, I'm just gonna sell that. It's just sheep meat. The puffball, it's worth 302. Huh. Now the shields, okay, the maple shields, that's just sell that, right? Mistletoe, that's worth 471. So, with the chameleon diamond, so I can't turn the quest in, apparently, until I do Promathia 3-2. And then I can get 4,800 gil for it. The thing is, it is apparently it's an item that can drop from any of the Gygus enemies in the meadows, so I shouldn't have a problem getting another one. Like, I don't think it'll be an issue to get more. So it's 576 gil, like, I can always get another diamond. Okay, I'm just getting a baseline for what, like, okay, what does all this sell for? So the skins sell for 210, the high quality is like double that, 412. And the tusk is 700, okay. So I'm just getting a feel for what I can potentially sell my goodies for. I had to mute it for a second, and that's also my in-game walk button. Kinda not well thought out there. On my part. It's just the, like that key, nothing else uses it, nothing. Alright, so we've got the Nomad Moogles, and I think these are auction houses? Not you. Okay, the auction house is on the other side then, but this is the Nomad Moogle. Anything in my delivery box? Nope. Anything I wanna put in my delivery box, or in my storage? I guess these the Beastman seal. Well, I'm gonna get Beastman seals anyway. That doesn't matter. Okay, so I want to go to the auction house. I believe the auction house is on the opposite end of this cave system. But I have a rough idea of how much my goods are worth. A rough idea. So now let's see what I can get for that on auction. I think this is an auction, right? Either him or some of the... I know I stumbled on an auction house in here before. I know for a fact I stumbled into an auction. Where was it? Like, okay, we got the Moogle storage, that's great. But I know there's an auction house in here. I swear I saw it. I saw it. Are you an auctioneer? Okay, no, you're just the... Well, wait, you're just a delivery Moogle. What's the point of you? Like, no, really, yeah, what's the point of that guy? Like, they're basically just a delivery Moogle, but that's what the Nomad, like, I can get items from the Nomad Moogle. What are you good for? Huh. I feel like I'm hallucinating now. Maybe there was no auction house. I can buy things. They all sell the same thing. Huh. Okay. Let me look real quick. So I'm gonna just do a quick Google. I swear there was an auction house here. I swear it. F10. And wait, isn't that an NPC I already talked to? That was an NPC I already talked to. Okay, let me try that again. Let me attempt again. So yeah, a quick search says that one of the guys that I talked to at F10, apparently they're an auctioneer, but I already talked to him, so I don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah, this guy over here, he's supposed to be an auctioneer, but I talked to him and nothing happened. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I don't have access to an auction. So I guess do you have to like proceed through the main story before you can access that? Yes. Okay, so it will not be available until after completing Darkness Named, which is, yeah, that's apparently that's like Promathia Mission 3-5 or something. So okay. Yeah, there is no auction house in Tavnasia. For me. For me, there's no auction house. It's there is one. It's just not something I can use. Cool. Cool. Well, the good news is, here in Tavnasia, you're only as far away from Juno as a nomad Moogle. That's the good thing. So let me change my main job out to Black Mage. And let's warp back to Juno. This is not ideal. Like, just to see how much something is worth on the auction house, this is certainly not the right way to go about it, but it's what I'm gonna do. Getting back to Lufay's it's just a matter of outpost teleporting to Valkyrim Dunes, and then going through the teleport, right? Like, it's not hard to get back there. It's really not. Alright, so main job back to Beastmaster, and we're all back to where we were. Get that glam going again. Alright. So I did all of this just because I really want to know how much the stuff I found is actually worth. I guess I'd like to know if it's worth my time to continue fighting in that region. That region which is currently under Beastman control. I mean, it would be cool if we could flip it, right? Like, if we could somehow flip Tavnasian Archipelago to Sandoria, that would be pretty radical. But I'm not really counting on it. I highly doubt that my efforts alone are going to do anything to push the needle closer to Sandoria. I have very big doubts about that. But I would really like the outpost. It would be cool if I could just teleport straight there, right? Oh god, these people's names. Snoochie Booch. Huh. Okay, so first off, do I have anything up for sale right now? Nope. Okay. So the Puffball. It's actually worth something. I could sell it, right? I could sell it just to NPCs. I could do that. But if I do that, I only get like 400 gil, right? So hey, I'll take like 1,000 gil. I'll take that. Ooh, okay, so the socks are worth 1,500 each. So I guess if I manage to get like a full stack of socks, that'd be what, like 15, 18, it'd be like 18,000, it'd be close to 20k, that's That's pretty nice. And the necklaces. And the necklaces, not so much. But still, that's about... If the price holds, that's about 6,000 gil for a stack. I mean, you tend to find both of them at the same time, so... Actually, killing giants is... It's kind of profitable, actually. I'll go ahead and sell my silver coin. I have a singular coin. Alright, so the tusks. Okay, I can get 800 gil. I think I could get like 700 for just selling it, so... The tusk, I'm just gonna vendor trash. Now the skins. Only worth 3.7k. So I could just sell those for 210 each. So that would be like what, 2,500-ish? I guess it is worth it to sell. It sells for a significant amount more than I could get just trashing it, but yeah, 3,000, like, that's not quite, it's not really worth the time. I wouldn't farm that enemy specifically. And the high quality, okay, so the high quality is, okay, one sells for like 500, so a stack would still sell for maybe 6,000, kind of like the socks. But they sell for like 410 each anyway, so I don't know. So the Bougard items, it's not that they sell terribly, it's just it's not really kind of worth the time and energy to go out of my way to farm them. Like, it's cool while I'm leveling up and I'm killing them anyway. Sure, why not? But it's not like after I've out-leveled them, I don't think I'd really go back and kill them just to farm. Okay, and then this, I think I could sell it for more to an NPC, so, okay. So I mostly just got an idea of how much the stuff I have is worth. If I have a full stack of skins, sure, put those up on the auction. But yeah, the mistletoe I can just sell. Yeah, the Bougard tusks, those I can just sell. But these two, they are worth money, but not a whole lot. I'd say the Gigas or Gigas, those items, those are worth something. Those I will hold on to until I have a full stack, and I'll try and play the market on those. The skins and stuff, I'll keep them, but I'm only gonna keep them because right now they're actually a pretty reliable enemy to fight for EXP. So I'll just kill them anyway, right? So I might as well try and collect a few stacks, but nothing amazing. Alright. So let's see, the server is going down in like a half hour. And I'd rather not ride it out to the last second. I kind of finished what I wanted to do for right now. And EXP wise, I'm only like 3,400-ish away from my level. That is very easy. I can, like, I might just log in later tonight and just get that. I think I'll go up to Rulude Gardens and get my signet refreshed. Have that done. That, and I like the music up here. It's very nice. Also, I just realized there's like decorations on the building on the side that's just an endless bottomless pit. I guess, yeah, you see it there, but I'm just thinking, like, what poor bastard has to, like, get on a scaffolding over this bottomless abyss and, you know, to hang up a little flag, right? If you really think about RPG architecture, it's like this is just a death trap. Like, this whole place is just a death trap. It's a fatal accident waiting to happen. I mean, also, it's a bit of a problem. I feel like it's a bit of a problem that the only thing separating you from an untimely death is, like, just this nice little, you know, waist-high wall that, like, oh, you could just drunkenly stumble around and fall right off the side. How many... What's the stats? How many fatalities are there in Juno of people just falling off the side? But you know what? That's nothing compared to Kelethin in the original EverQuest. Just a tree city suspended so high up in the trees that if you fall off, you just die. And there's no, like, they didn't even have guardrails. They didn't even have the waist-high guardrails. There was nothing. So many a noob just fell right on off to their death. Like, that one's not even theoretical. Man, all the wood elf bodies at the bottom of those trees. Good lord. But anyway, I guess this is a good place to leave things off for now with Final Fantasy XI. The servers are going down for maintenance very soon, so I feel like that's a good place to end that. And it looks like most of the lurkers have cleared out, I think. Or have they? Well, Twitch is doing that thing again, where it says there's, like, less people than are even here, like, that I know are here. But I see that there are quite a few lurkers around, so I guess if you're only here for Final Fantasy XI, then well, server's going down. I mean, I can't work miracles, all right. But I did have a plan anyway to switch games halfway. Well, we're a little over halfway now, but to switch games over and to play some City of Heroes, just kind of conclude things with a little bit of City of Heroes, right? It is my other favorite MMO, my other favorite ancient MMO, if you will. Can still discuss Final Fantasy things if you want, but we're gonna switch our game over now. So I guess for archival purposes, that concludes our Final Fantasy XI session.